Good morning.
Good morning.
So Pastor Downing was teaching a class of 8-year-olds about things money can't buy. It can't buy laughter, he said. That comes from the soul. And it can't buy love. To drive his point home, he said, what would you do if I offered you $10,000 to not love your mother and father? There was a long silence. And then a voice from the back of the room called out, how much would you give me not to love my sister? So what is money? Joseph Campbell, the noted mythologist, called money congealed energy. It is human energy, your energy, my energy, in tangible form. Depending on the relationship you have with it, money can be a cause of great joy and creativity, or it can be sheer torment. Of course, money is only one form of human energy. There are many others, like physical energy, love, time, creativity, spiritual power. Every day brings new opportunities for us to practice the wise use of these energies. There is something unique about money, though. It is so tangible. An energy you can see, feel, hold in your hand, count, and measure. Yet all our energies are interwoven and interdependent. For example, our relationship with money, as it turns out, is a mirror of our relationship with our spirituality, career, health, love, and time. If we have a healthy, balanced relationship with money, we are far more likely to be healthy and balanced in those other areas of our lives. And if we have issues with money, no doubt, upon examination, we will see that these very same issues are showing up in those other areas of our lives. Maria Namath, well-known author and teacher on the subject of money, tells a story that illustrates this very well. Over 15 years ago, Maria invested $35,000 in an unsecured promissory note with a man she had known for only 6 months. She didn't even use her own money. She borrowed it from a family member.
Ooh.
The man she loaned the money to promised her a 30% return on her investment. The money was used to make short-term loans to commercial lenders to secure real estate escrows, and it was a fraud. Within a few months, she and all the other investors had lost everything. Now, at the time, Maria was no dunderhead when it came to money. She was a PhD psychologist with a financially sound practice and a teaching position at a local university. She had read many financial investment books and attended a number of money management seminars. Obviously, knowledge about the use of money was not enough to keep her from taking such unwise action. Needless to say, Maria felt terrible about losing the money. She felt stupid and embarrassed and hoped no one would find out what a fool she had made of herself. But this was not to be her fate. 2 weeks after she found out her money was gone, she got a phone call from a local newswoman. Dr. Namath, the woman said, the university gave me your name as a possible source of information for an article I'm writing. You may not be aware of it, but Sacramento has been having a run of investment frauds. People have lost a lot of money. My article is about the type of personality or character flaw that would allow people to get taken in by these schemes. What is wrong with their reasoning process? Can you imagine? Maria was caught. At first she wanted to hang up the phone before the reporter could ask another question. In her mind's eye, she could see her whole career as a psychologist going down the drain. But from somewhere else, deep within, she made the decision to tell the truth, and what she said was, I lost money in one of those scams. The words just slipped out of her mouth, and she was horrified. She felt like she was falling into a black hole, she says. After a long pause, the reporter asked, are you sure you want me to know about this? Do you really want me to print your story? As though compelled by some other entity, Maria heard herself say, yes, I do. Perhaps others can learn from my mistakes. At one point, the reporter tried to help by making excuses for Maria's choices. Obviously, you were taken in by a very slick operator, right? Certainly, he played upon your good nature and your trust in him. Once again, Maria was surprised by her own answer. What she said to the reporter was, well, sort of. But do you want to know the real reason I invested with that guy without first reading the fine print or doing sufficient homework? It was greed. The minute the words were out of her mouth, she knew it was true. Greed. Wanting to beat the system. Wanting to make a quick profit. She had not wanted to listen to the financial advisors or friends who warned her how risky the venture was. What she wanted was to make some quick money. In Buddhism, greed is called one of the 3 great poisons that will lead to suffering. In Christianity, it is one of the 7 deadly sins. As time went on, Maria began to see how the spiritual burden of greed showed up in other areas of her life. In her family relationships, demanding her way, seeing her needs as more important than the others in the family. In her health habits, not being willing to spend the time to exercise or eat right. In her time, overbooking herself, being perfectionistic, and prioritizing work over family. Even in her spiritual life, going to church all right, but wanting more to feel good than grow. You get the picture. Well, that article, turns out, turned Maria's life around. Because of her honesty, she began receiving phone calls from people who wanted to talk with her about their own financial snafus. And her career as a money teacher was launched. She soon met other financial consultants and advisors, one of whom confided in her that when it came to other people's money, he knew just what to do, but that he had a terrible time following his own financial advice. I'll bet many of us could say the very same thing. For most of us, money is central in our lives. Whether rich or poor, we have had a relationship with money since we were old enough to count. The question is, what is the nature of that relationship? You've heard it said, right, that the easiest way to tell what a person values is to look at his checkbook register? There, our priorities are spelled out in black and white. So I'm asking today, of all of us really, do you know what your priorities are? You have a belief system, most likely, about what they ought to be, but what does your checkbook say they are? The dean of a well-known university wrangled with this question. He talks about the time an angel appeared to him at a faculty meeting and told him that the good Lord wanted to reward him for his unselfish behavior and model leadership. She offers him the choice of infinite wealth, infinite health, or infinite wisdom? Which would he like? Without hesitation, the dean selects infinite wisdom. Done, says the angel with a wave of her wing, and then poof, she disappears. All heads turn to the dean, who is now surrounded by a halo of light. He seems stunned, and there is silence throughout the room. One of the faculty members finally leans over and whispers, "Well, Dean, say something." And the dean, now filled with infinite wisdom, replies, "I should have taken the money." Money is a major cause of stress for a lot of people. Differences over the handling of money are often cited in the breakup of marriages and business partnerships. Fear of not having enough money may be fueled by poverty. Fear of losing money may be fueled by wealth. Rich or poor, most people worry about money from time to time. And most of us think that the answer to our worry and money problems is having more money. Well, I'm not so sure that's the truth. You know, one more story about this New York businessman who comes on vacation in North Carolina, and he meets up with a southern fisherman who's sitting lazily on the dock in the middle of the day, drinking a nice cold beer, sitting there next to his boat. Amazed, the guy asks, "Why aren't you out fishing?" "Because I've caught enough fish for one day," replies the fisherman. "But it's still early. Why don't you go out and catch some more?" "And what would I do with them?" "Well, sell them, of course, and make more money," the businessman said. "And then you could buy a bigger boat and go into deeper waters and catch more fish. And if you keep it up, pretty soon you'll be able to buy another fishing boat. And who knows, someday you may have a whole fleet of boats and you would be as rich as I am." "And what would I do then?" asked the fisherman. "Well, then you could relax and enjoy life." And the fisherman says, "Well, what do you think I'm doing right now?" No, I don't really think our money problems will be solved just by making more money. How many times have we thought that a raise would get us out of the woods, only to get that raise or that increase in our income and in a very short time find ourselves back in debt? No, as with all relationship issues, we have to look a little deeper if we want our situation to improve. Core to Unity teachings is the belief that the supply of substance in the universe is unlimited. There is no lack of any kind in the absolute. And we extrapolate this into the idea that if we are experiencing any sort of lack in our lives, it's because we are somehow blocking the flow of that universal substance. Therefore, we say, the answer is to remove those blocks so that the universal supply of money, time, love, health can flow unimpeded into our lives. Right. But the thing is, you and I are living a human experience in a material world steeped in duality and limitation. And from the time of our youth, most of us have been taught that money is limited. We've also been told that money is safety, that we have to work really hard to get it and be very, very careful how we spend it. These lessons have been planted deep and do not change overnight, because these lessons have been called reality. So when we come to Unity and hear that there's a greater reality, and I always get teary when I think this, that we live in a benevolent universe of unlimited substance, well, this is very exciting news. Absolutely. I'll never forget that newcomer who came to spiritual economics class in Greensboro and after the class, he was absolutely jubilant. He finished the class, but after only a few months, he stopped coming to church. Eventually, I called to check on him, and he told me that he had stopped coming because unity teachings were fraudulent and dangerous. How so? I asked, feeling shocked. Well, when I came to that class, I was struggling with the business decision. A friend of mine wanted to partner with me in a new venture. I hesitated because something told me that it all seemed too good to be true. But after attending that class, one class, I realized that the universe had my back, and so I just jumped in. Well, in only a matter of weeks, I lost my shirt, and I blame unity. You won't be seeing me again. This man had made a common mistake, and that's really why I wanted to tell you about it. He did not understand that it takes time to become a master of the laws governing the flow of energy. It takes time to get honest about our motivations and overcome our childhood conditioning about money. It takes time to grow in consciousness. It's not just a matter of understanding those prosperity ideas. We have to learn and practice applying spiritual laws in order to sustain a life of prosperity. Just the same way an electrician has to learn to work with the laws of the electromagnetic field to safely and successfully practice his craft. Prosperity is a spiritual gift. And like all spiritual gifts, and we're learning this in the 12 powers, it is meant to be used under the direction of spirit, under the direction of the Christ consciousness. One of the greatest spiritual lessons we have all come here to learn, in my opinion, is to learn how to manifest the maximum good through the wise use of our resources. Those resources that are at our disposal in any given moment. It's not about getting more and more. It's about getting our priorities in order. It's about spiritual growth, about deeper understanding, and letting go of limiting beliefs so that we can learn to live in the flow. And perhaps greatest of all, it's about establishing a balance between our giving and receiving. And I'd like to ask you right now a rather challenging question. I'd like to ask you to consider where in your life you are taking more than you're giving. Because this is going to lead to disillusionment and disappointment. Conversely, where in your life are you giving more than you're receiving back? This is no doubt going to lead to resentment and the need to control. See, it's about balance and it's about gratitude. That heart-centered awareness of the value of the resources we have. If we don't appreciate what we have, we'll take it for granted. Gratitude and appreciation make us good stewards of our resources. You could say it's the very opposite of greed. So let's reframe the whole idea of limitation. Think for a moment. If diamonds could be found lying around in the grass in your front yard, if all you had to do was go out the door and pick up as many as you wanted, would they be valuable? Probably not. Unless I think of the supply of money in my life as a precious resource, no matter what the size of that supply, I will not appreciate it and give it good care. I may squander it, use it mindlessly, Or if I see limitation as the ultimate reality rather than a function of my own perception, I may hoard it out of fear and block its flow that way. As with every single thing in life, consciousness is the key. If we were raised in a poor family where we learned to do without, if we were taught that money is the root of all evil, or we heard our parents having painful arguments over finances, our relationship with money may be unbalanced. We may have a learned lack consciousness, and this can be subtle. For example, I receive my paycheck and immediately have the thought, I hope this is enough to cover my bills. My relationship with money is lack. If you ask me how much money I have and I say, I only have $50, my relationship with money is lack. If I'm asked to give money to the church or some other worthy cause and I think, I can't afford to give that money, my relationship with money is lack. And here's one. If you don't know, and I don't know, how much money we have in the bank at this moment, it may very well be that our relationship with money is fear. We don't want to look. We don't keep track. These are not comfortable feelings and can subtly cause us to want nothing to do with money at all. It's all about balance, right? If we pay little or no attention to our money, our financial life will be a roller coaster ride. If we pay too much attention, we could end up like Gertrude. You see, Gertrude is known for being overly thrifty. She negotiates every single purchase she makes. One day she held up 2 oranges and asked the produce clerk, how much are these oranges? And he replied, 2 for $1. And she holds up one and she said, how much is this one? And he said, 1 orange is 75 cents. And she replied, oh, I get it. Well, in that case, I'll take the other one. Takes a minute, right? Some of us hold tight to our money because God knows big trouble could be right around the corner. What do we know about fear? That fear is a magnet that draws to us the very thing we fear. So save your money for a rainy day and you're likely to get a rainy day. On the other hand, save your money for a great vacation or a new venture and you may draw those experiences to you. Others of us are careless about our money. Have you ever had the experience of losing money over something and consoling yourself by saying, so what, it's only money? Only money? Our money is the fuel that powers the realization of our dreams. It is precious. It is God-given life energy sitting right in front of us in tangible form saying, please create something wonderful with me. Life is short and therefore precious. And so how are we going to spend it? Will we use our energy resources intentionally and creatively? Will I use my money to bring myself and others joy? Or will I hoard it or consciously fritter it away on frivolous things? It really matters, you know. Because the difference between pleasure and joy is as great as the difference between a fishbowl and the ocean. Using our money to create joy for ourselves and others is a journey of the heart and soul that starts with discovering what brings us joy. Because until we know that, we're liable to settle for pleasure. Joy places us squarely in the flow of universal substance. Creative ideas flow into our minds like a river. when we're on a mission to contribute as much joy to ourselves and others as we can while we're here, we attract and generate money and all the other resources we need. And there always seems to be enough. But when we're on some sort of mission to fend off fear or feed our greed, our connection with money, time, and physical energy will be tenuous, and there will never be enough. So today I'm proposing that the answer to all our money problems is joy. Be grateful and mindful in the use of your money. Give yourself the incredible satisfaction of contributing money and your other resources to places where you know you can make a difference, to things that you really care about, that matter to you. Our money is a precious resource, and like all the planet's resources, it does not really belong to us. It flows through us to support us in realizing our life purpose. We are stewards only. May we be good stewards. May we savor our precious resources and use them to create joy. God bless you all.